Hi there, welcome to Tarotland Soap Opera. Today I'm going to do a reading for Scorpio energy. And like usual, we're going to do two rows. The top row I refer to as high vibe Scorpio. The bottom row, a more worldly, shadowy Scorpio energy. We all have free will in our dualistic nature, and we have to make decisions in our life. And the bottom row can just represent our fears and insecurities that we have at any given moment in time. And in the top row, everybody's moving forward with their truth of how they perceive life, but sometimes in tarot hear it being referred to as like timelines. I could be 18, 21, 25. When I'm 18, I'm going to move forward this way. I got my fears and insecurities. Other people might be more like a 21-year-old. They're moving forward in their truth. And we view life differently at different stages of life based on the lessons we've learned, right? So everybody could be moving forward, needless, in a way that they might think based on how they perceive life, their attitudes, their perception of themselves, others, what they think is just and fair, about how to treat other people maybe in relationships. Everybody's kind of moving forward in their truth. It's just that we need to kind of listen to our intuition if some of the people we're moving forward with are really kind of on the same page as we are, kind of like the same timeline, same emotional maturity, same, do we think do we agree on things that we think are just and fair? Is it truth? Is it love? Is it more motivated by something else? So it's kind of like just wanting to be in relationships with people who have kind of learned some of the same lessons as you have. And everybody can have kind of different fears and insecurities and self-learning beliefs. High vibe, the reason for the top rose reading is the Knight of Pentacles. The more high vibrational you are, the more you realize to offer truth and love to yourself and the situation is the best answer. Some people are living their life, but they keep thinking, I'll just offer these things of the world. I'll offer people what I've got. I'll have sex with you. I have money, status, image, power. I'm attractive. I'm charming. Whatever it is that they think they've got. And they really haven't learned that to temper their ego enough and have learned these lessons to know you should offer truth and love and treat other people the way you like to be treated. And they're going to go on their journey and learn these lessons. And some people have already learned those lessons and they want to work with other people who've learned those lessons. So it's just seeing the truth. High Vibe Virgo that all of us can tap into is about, in high vibe, it's about truth and love and growing and maturing and seeing how you might be tempted or are acting out of pride or ego or fear or insecurity or codependency. And some people just keep plowing ahead. Nope, not going to see the truth because that's shadowy energy, wanting to stay in denial of the truth or just haven't realized the truth yet. Okay, let's go look at the bottom row first. We have the the Four of Swords. And underneath that is the Justice card and the Truth. That's interesting. Then the Queen of Swords. The Four of Swords can talk about reflecting on the truth and that we've maybe felt stuck, had some past pain and heartbreak. And people might think about being more just and fair and speaking the truth, acting in truth, being just, being fair. But all of that requires them to see how past pain or betrayal or their ego or something has stopped them from doing more equal give and take with people and calling judgment on some things. We've all experienced pain and heartbreak and felt betrayed, right? Are we willing to see the truth of it? Like if we were heartbroken, why didn't that work out? Where did I need to heal and grow and mature myself? What about some of the people I was in a relationship with? Where did they maybe need to heal and grow and mature themselves? And some people might reflect on that, but They still might not want to. The Queen of Swords, the queens and the feminine figures can talk about how we think and feel. The masculine energies can talk about how people are presenting themselves in the world. The truth is, some people, the Four of Swords is Libra energy represented by the scales of justice. Some people, everybody harnesses Libra energy, and some people are more defensive of doing more equal give and take in a relationship. Some people are more defensive to kind of getting more balance within themselves, whatever it is that kind of keeps them more tipped in favor of being more about themselves. These ways they have of viewing relationships, some of them are kind of full of themselves. Some people could think if I look a certain way, if I have a certain status or image in the world, people should indulge me in a relationship. And that's shadowy Taurus energy that they can harness. And a more high vibrational Taurus relationship would be that you are supposed to be just and fair. You are supposed to see the truth that love is supposed to be just and fair. You're supposed to treat other people the way you like to be treated. But that does require, in the Queen of Swords of Aquarius energy, that you look at life from a higher perspective instead of a more worldly self perspective. And everybody could have grown up with people in certain environments or countries or cultures or whatever. And that can be that's not their truth. That no, I have a more transactional view of relationship. And if I have more whatever, I'm a certain sex, I have a certain status, I have a certain image, I have a certain amount of power, I look like I have justice in the world, I'm attractive, I'm charming, whatever the hell it is that they think. They could think, no, if I have more of those things of the world that people want, I should be the more privileged, indulged person in a relationship. That is my damn truth. And they're not willing in the judgment card to make a decision, to hold themselves accountable, to look at life differently. And that's fine. They can live their life whatever way they want. They just need to find other people who agree with them or have that same philosophy of life. And again, some people think it's just and fair to maybe also shadowy energy, shadowy Taurus, shadowy Libra, shadowy Aquarius, that anybody can harness, is that I think it's just unfair to make my life more about me or more about these things of the world that I indulge in or more about the status, the ego, or the image. And that's why I get in a relationship. That's why I stay in a relationship. That's why people should get in a relationship with me. That's why people should stay in a relationship with me. That's what's most important. That is how I view life. It's about me or looking like a shining star in the world. This is the game of life. The world tells us, make your life about these things. We'll view you like a shining star. And for some people, that's their truth. That is the most important thing in their life. High vibe energy is about seeing the truth that love is what makes it all worthwhile. And love is supposed to be just and fair. And you are supposed to hold yourself accountable for your actions. You are supposed to temper your more worldly, egoic, immature, prideful, egotistical, want to be indulged, lazy, immature nature and grow up and mature yourself. But you don't have to if you don't want to. You could give birth to all sorts of things in your life. The more you heal, the more you look at life from a higher perspective, the more you're willing to hold yourself accountable for your actions and also hold other people accountable to a higher standard. Truth, justice, fairness, character, integrity. The character and integrity is like high vibe Taurus. What's your truth? But, shadowy energies being aligned with your more worldly, egoic view of life. And for some people, that's their truth. That's probably going to be how they're going to keep living their life. For other people, they always felt it should be more just and fair and balanced. Do I want some of these things in the world just like everybody else? Yeah. Am I going to be bossy or controlling or prideful or egotistical or think it should be more about me? Well, I don't think that's just and fair. I thought it was supposed to be about love. I want some of those things like everybody else does in the world, but I equally want truth, justice, fairness, character, integrity. I want to keep freeing myself from past pain, heartbreak, self-limiting beliefs, and all those things because all those things manipulate me. I want to believe in myself. I want to believe in myself. I want to believe in others. I want to believe in love. It's in the energy of love and aligning with those kind of energies that we could give birth to all sorts of new things in the world. And shadowy energy can represent like the fear and the insecurity, and we got to do things the way everybody else has always done it. At the extreme, if everybody in the world never kind of looked at life from a higher perspective, listened to their intuition, we've all been given our more creative, inspired, intuitive nature. We've all been given the pentacles can kind of represent our own unique talents, skills, and interests. If nobody would have ever done that, we would still be the same cave people that we were on day one. But other people could have liked the way things were. That's the way we live life. We like things, we grow up wherever we grow up. We're kind of comfortable with it. The bottom row can represent our comfort zone. But then there can, we could think I think we could do something maybe a little different. Just like some cave people at one time decided they think they could do something a little bit different. We could maybe dig a drainage ditch so that if we go to the restroom here, it all carries it away from where we're living. And there would have been some people in the crowd that said, no, we can't do that. That's different. We have to do things the way we've always done it. This is just and fair. Somebody else thought of this idea, and we need to keep doing this forever. And, luckily, not everybody is so defensive to change, because in order to change, you have to be willing to face your fears that I might be in the Queen of Swords, a little defensive to it, but, let's see if it works out, and maybe we'll try that. And the fact is that not everything we try works out the way we want it. It kind of makes me think of people creating the light bulb, 1,000 or 3,000 times before they got a working light bulb. Thank goodness they didn't give up on making the light bulb, just saying, no, that didn't work. We should go back and do it this way. We will never have a light bulb. And all the people who came up with a plane, thank goodness, they finally came up and kept working on it to make a plane, and cell phones and heart surgery and, but some people are just more defensive. To get to the Six of Pentacles, you have to add the truth to it, and the truth is reflected in the pentacle. I see the truth. I look at life from a higher perspective. I've worked through some of my fears and my insecurities, and I take action to move forward because something before the Six of Pentacles is the Five of Pentacles. We've been moving forward in something, but something kind of seems to be lacking. I think there could be more. So let's try to maybe see what needs to be left behind. Traits, characteristics, ways of viewing life, ways of living life, ways of thinking, ways of feeling, to see the truth of them, put things in perspective, be willing to move forward maybe because something could seem out of balance. Again, the bottom row means that something feels out of balance. And sometimes that's when jobs, friendships, and relationships end, because the other people are defensive to that. They still have their way of looking at life, viewing life, how they want to keep moving forward. They want to keep moving forward that way. But other people could kind of feel like it's not more just and fair. The sixes can talk about balance because there's 12 zodiac signs. So other people could be happy. No, we should keep doing it like this. It maybe isn't just and fair. It works for me. I'm okay with it. Well, who's the people who are going to be most okay with it moving forward the way it is? The people who it's working for. And the people who feel like, well, this isn't working for me. And they're like, I don't care. It works for me. And that's when some other people are like, Am I going to keep staying in this when I feel like it's not just and fair? And maybe I feel a little left out in the cold. And maybe I feel like people are being defensive and not holding themselves accountable for their actions, and might even just want to be in the relationship or stay at the job because of the status, the ego, and the image of it. But do you even love me, or do you even love the job? Is anything ever going to change? High vibe energy is kind of being inspired within yourself to give birth to something new, kind of. Quit letting whatever could manipulate you that stops you from doing more equal give and take and facing your fears, to work through those things so you can free yourself to go free of those things that used to manipulate you. And then you go to the next phase of life. But some people don't want to see the truth. They could think about it, but that could require them to either be held accountable for their actions. Nope, I'm not doing that. Speak their truth. Nope, not going to do that. Do more equal give and take. Nope, not going to do that. So they decide, I'm just going to keep moving forward like this. And here we have the Six of Cups, the Queen of Cups, the Two of Swords, and the King of Cups. And I view both the King of Cups and the Queen of Cups as Scorpio energy. And a more worldly, shadowy Scorpio energy can be, I don't really want to explore the mysteries of life. I'm okay and happy living my life like this. And that is fine. Other people who aren't fine with it have to see the truth of it. And unless they're willing to sacrifice living their life in a way that isn't maybe aligned with their truth or their dreams, they can if they want. But there are some people, Scorpio is fixed sign energy, Taurus is fixed sign energy, Aquarius is fixed sign energy. We have a way of living life and viewing life, and we kind of would like those things to work out. And we maybe like to do it a certain way, maybe our way. Or we just might have a way of living life that we don't ever want to step outside of our comfort zone. And emotionally, we could have ways of interacting with people in relationship that is in our comfort zone. High vibe Scorpio is about exploring the mysteries of life. And it starts with us. We're emotionally complex human beings. But some people are defensive to even doing more equal give and take with their more emotionally intuitive, creative, inspired nature, because they could like to live more from their mind than their heart, kind of use their emotions as they need them, but just don't even really know themselves very well emotionally. Like, I'll use my emotions to the degree that I have to use them and connect in with them to a degree, but again, they might be in two minds, is what the Two of Swords, which is also Libra energy, about really taking action in their life more from a place of love. Because then they would have to get more balance between things from their past or ways of viewing life or relationships, or their defensive nature, their egoic nature, wanting to be more about themselves, to really do more equal give and take with people. And some people, it's like, I'm not willing to do that. And partly it could be that they got to go on some more journeys in life to learn some more lessons, to see if that's, kind of hang out with people who are maybe more like them, or go find someone else that will stay in a relationship with them, maybe being more, maybe trying to use the fact that, people can be loving and nurturing and supportive in a relationship, but they don't really want to more authentically invest themselves in a relationship. It's like looking like love, acting like love, talking like love, but that can be the shadowy King of Cups, where it's kind of hiding behind their defensive egoic nature, wearing kind of like a false mask. And people can, because they can maybe seem very balanced, look victorious or successful or stable or grounded in a lot of ways, people can get in relationships with them and stay in relationships with them for a long time. But eventually it kind of can get down to that core truth of what really ultimately drives and motivates us, of why we're in the relationship, want to stay in the relationship. And they could love being in the relationship too, but it's a little bit more from their worldly egoic nature, of their self-protective nature. It's good for their ego and their image and their status, and then people can feel like, yes, I agree, it could have all these things of the world that we want. That's like a more worldly Five of Pentacles. But are we ever going to start investing in it being a more emotionally intuitive, creative, inspired, and more deep, meaningful relationship? And some people are like, no, it's going to stay like this. Well, if, say, the Pentacles can also represent all these different institutions of the world. If someone is in another relationship, it would make just and fair sense that they're defensive to anybody else who wants to exchange resources with them, because I'm already in a relationship. If it was in a workplace and someone is in a position of power or authority over someone, no, I can't get in a more involved relationship with you, because that would jeopardize my job and my career. So until something in that changes, this isn't moving forward anyway. It's going to keep moving forward the way it is. If I'm in a relationship, it's going to keep moving forward with me being in my relationship. If I'm a supervisor or whatever, it might keep moving forward that way. But in some kind of romantic ways, in Scorpio energy, people emotionally have a way of interacting in a relationship that helps them maybe feel stable and balanced within themselves, that they think is just and fair. Could be defensive to change, defensive of stepping outside their comfort zone, could be defensive to listening to their intuition. And they want people to stay in a relationship with them, defending, kind of the Queen of Swords energy, defend being in a friendship or relationship with me, but it is going to keep moving forward the way it's going to move forward. It's not going to ever turn into a more high vibrational Taurus relationship. It is going to stay as a more transactional relationship. It's not going to be where people have more hope and faith and belief in love, in a way. Or whatever way they live life and view love, that is the way they view it. And just like people who move away from them could kind of feel stuck because they had love for that person and they feel kind of betrayed, the people also could feel a little stuck and feel betrayed because there could have been love there, but some people just aren't willing to come out from behind their more self-protective, defensive nature. And if other people up here in the Page of Swords are being more authentic, more vulnerable, more willing to step out of their comfort zone, work through their fears and insecurities about why they maybe wouldn't do that, to do that, they want to be in a relationship with other people who will. And I think the shadowy people end up being mad at the people who work through those issues to get more balance within themselves. And kind of won't make their life more about getting in a job, friendship, or relationship, more for the want for those things of the world, that they kind of hold themselves to a higher standard. Like, all of us could go hang out and kind of party with or get in a relationship with some people of whatever way those people live life, if we were willing to live our life that way. And there could be people who could see some people that have maybe been betrayed, did distance themselves from some people, but those people have to work through their own fears about, if I were to go get in a relationship with that person, I really would have to be more just and fair and balanced within myself. Am I willing to heal, work through my own fears, my own insecurities, these ways of viewing relationship that maybe I kind of thought was just and fair, and see the truth of it, and maybe just have a little more hope and faith and belief in myself and in others and in love. And if they do, maybe at some future point in time, those people will get more balance within themselves, called judgment on repeating an old pattern, and they'll move forward in life too. But right now, there are some people that were in those kind of situations, felt kind of stuck. They wanted to invest in believing in themselves and believing in their dream. They wanted some of these people to move forward with them. Some of those people did, some of those people didn't. And they healed from the fact that I don't want to keep repeating an old pattern, just like I don't want to stay 18 forever or 21 forever. It's part of the process on this journey of manifesting our dreams into reality. And sometimes we realize with some people, it's like some people are like, well, I got a job, I got in a relationship, or I got married. I didn't aspire to anything else. And so then, I don't know. It's just like we have different viewpoints on life, and other people felt like, well, I felt like this was part of it. And I thought we were all going to move forward, and we were going to keep facing our fears, and we were going to keep looking at life from higher perspectives and investing and believing in ourselves. And it's just one of the paver stones set down on our journey in life. And some people were like, well, I never even thought about life that way, and I never even thought of doing life any differently. And I thought it was just like to get in a relationship and have someone to exchange resources with and look like I have justice in the world. Well, if that's your truth, that's your truth. Other people are like, I want those things too, but I also, and high vibe energy is about being more independent of your ego nature, worldly nature, fear, insecurity, codependency. I want to keep freeing myself from things that manipulate me. To keep being free, to keep in love, treating other people the way I like to be treated, but just keep adding to the dream, kind of. So some people decided to quit exchanging resources with some people to keep moving forward, investing in themselves and taking creative, inspired action in their life. And you have to be, the Five of Wands comes after the Four of Wands, and the Four of Wands is Aries energy about the self and kind of within ourself again, what makes us feel balanced, what makes us feel maybe stable and grounded, our idea of the dream life. And for the first 30, 40 years of our life, we're pretty fired up about these things of the world that we want to go invest in and indulge in, that we are sure will make us happy. And a lot of those things did make us happy. And we could have invested in those things. But for some people, that wasn't the end all be all. I'm still inspired to keep exploring me, and the way I thought at 18 was different than how I thought at 25. Things I was interested in wanting to invest my time and energy in that time period was different than what I wanted to invest my time, energy, and effort in maybe age 25 to 35, for example. And then what I might want to invest my time, energy, and effort into 35 to 45 would be different from those things again. Because as I keep living life, I keep coming in contact with all these different people and having these different experiences in life that help me get more clear about what my truth is and my truth isn't, and what I enjoy and what I don't enjoy. And I know if I'm not willing to work through, if I don't heal from whatever could manipulate me, it's going to make me defensive to exchanging this for continuing to move forward. And some people knew there was things that manipulated them, so they did this work within themselves. They offered love to themselves to work through kind of feeling stuck and in two minds about things. And they offered love to themselves to heal and work through issues from their past and their own self-limiting beliefs. Saw the truth. You have to deal with the truth. Where did I need to heal and grow and mature myself? Where did other people need to heal and grow and mature themselves? Who was more emotionally manipulative, more defensive, more about the world, more about themselves? Who did more equal give and take? Who didn't? And who am I? What's my truth? And the only person I can change is me. And I'm going to accept the truth that everybody was where they were at, and everybody else could have done this work within themselves to see where they needed to heal and grow and mature themselves. Some of them did, some of them didn't. But I'm not going to let the fact that if some people were a little more shadowy, or a little more shadowy Scorpio, can be superficial and shallow, or try to present themselves as loving people, but they're really kind of trying to manipulate people, or they really want it to be more about them, and I could have loved them, I'm going to see the truth of them too. And that's what some people also have a problem with. They could have people in their life that they love, but they don't want to see the truth that some of those people tried to use the love that they had for them to emotionally manipulate them, or manipulated others, or were more concerned about the ego or the image or the status. And as long as they don't want to see the truth, it will keep them kind of repeating an old pattern, which is the Six of Cups. Because we will keep repeating a pattern, because it's kind of like we have to. We could think, oh no, I can just go do things differently. I can wear a false mask. I'm smart. I'm bright. I'll just present myself differently. But they act and interact with people in a way based on these core foundational truths that they hold within themselves. And if they really haven't authentically, you can walk the talk like I'm a much more just, fair, stable, grounded, loving person. But if that's not really the truth of who you are, other people are more connected in with their emotions and their intuition. And as they're trying to move it forward in a more authentically just, fair, balanced, loving way, being more independent of the past, of the world, of their more ego nature, the other people can try to wear that mask, but eventually, they can't do it because that's not their truth. And they could hope that the people they're in a relationship with, though, because they love them, they'll just keep putting in work and effort to make it work. But it's never going to give birth to anything new, because they can't really give birth to anything new until, they heal or change or grow or mature themselves or something. And other people see the truth of it, and that's when other people move on. So the other people are inspired within themselves. They have worked through some things that some other people haven't, just like we've had people move on ahead of us in life at different times and being more mature and stable and grounded and hopeful and believing in themselves than we were at different times, right? But they believe they have the resources, which we all do. The Magician is Gemini, free will, dualistic nature, and Virgo. I believe I have free will, and I believe that, this is kind of like the Magician talking in high vibe. I have the free will to align with my more defensive, fearful, self-protective nature, let things from my past keep manipulating me, or I can offer truth and love to myself and be inspired to align with my more hopeful, believing, loving nature and stand up for myself in the Seven of Wands and move forward in a more hopeful, believing, loving energy, and offer love. Truth and love is the answer. Offer truth and love to people in my life that I accept everybody was where they were at. And everybody currently right now is where they're at. And the people who I know that I am working together with, who are motivated and inspired to move forward in the Seven of Cups, have deep, meaningful relationships, and high vibe Scorpio. In the Page of Swords, kind of have that more hopeful, believing nature, let their more authentic nature out to play in the world. Those are the people I'm going to keep investing more of my time, energy, and effort into. And I've done that to myself. And I've seen through the illusion of how I could have been more codependent. I could have been more immature. I could have been more defensive. I could have had inner conflict I needed to work through. I could have been looking to other people in the world to love me or validate my worth and value. And as long as I'm looking for that, it will probably kind of in a way be withheld from me. Because we are meant to learn the truth that we are supposed to learn to love ourselves, and because we're not children anymore, and to give ourselves the things that we wish other people would have given us, and be that loving and encouraging person to ourselves, to work through to heal, to don't give up our dreams, to believe in our dreams. Just see that some people didn't view life that way, and they didn't do the work within themselves to free themselves to be more just and fair and loving. Okay, I'm not going to let the fact that everybody was a fallible human being stop me and make me keep feeling betrayed, that things didn't work out the way I had wanted and everybody wasn't as just and fair and loving and encouraging as I wish they would have been. My dreams aren't codependent on all these different people in the world. I have to see the truth. I'm dealing with other fallible human beings. They're where they're at. I'm not going to keep giving up on my dreams. I'm just going to see who is more on the same page with me or not, who is more authentic, loving, and encouraging. Listen to my intuition about those people. Listen to my intuition about the people who aren't. And I'm going to be focused more on exchanging resources with the people who are and not with the people who aren't. When I was younger, I was codependent on those people. I couldn't kind of distance myself from them. But as I get older and I can either distance myself from those people, or I can distance myself as I meet other people who are like those people. I already know people who act like you and behave like you, and I could feel are emotionally manipulative or more superficial and shallow or more about themselves, or if I don't feel like you're being truthful and authentic and loving, like it authentically is who you are. You like to be, and it doesn't mean you have to be ooey and gooey with everyone in the world. It's just, we treat people out in the world like, social acquaintances. But with people that you're in a relationship with, the people who are really motivated and inspired to work cooperatively from love are being authentic and loving and encouraging to the people they're in a relationship. Not just for how it benefits them or their status or their ego or their image. They want you to equally free yourself from things that manipulate you as they are freeing themselves from things that manipulate them. And hopefully we extend grace to each other, and we might go through periods where one person's a little more leery of moving forward. Like some people could move forward a little quicker, and it's like, eek, you're kind of really seeming more bold and brave and confident than me, and you'd have to be willing to speak your truth. I don't know if I'm ready for that. And then, the Seven of Wands can be that people kind of pause while we work through it, and we work through whatever issue has arisen or fears or concerns, and offer love and encouragement to keep moving forward. And then we start moving forward again, right? But being loving and encouraging to people in our life. But if we start to feel like people are creating an illusion and that's not really their truth, and it's like trying to keep us stuck and defensive of continuing to move forward when they really have no intention of moving forward in life any differently, is to work through that emotional confusion to get to the truth. And the Page of Swords can be like all the pages. It's just not angry, not mad, but this is my truth. Is this your truth or is it not? And if it's not their truth, or even if they're not willing to say it or being defensive, because if some people aren't ready to move forward in life a little differently, and maybe you work through some issues where you have changed, the fives talk about change, and down here, the truth added to the Five of Pentacles to make the Six of Pentacles. You've changed. You're not the same person that you were when you could have started a job, a friendship, or relationship. And though everybody could have been in similar energy, because again, we'll probably be drawn and attracted to people that we can be at a core foundational level, have ultimately different truths of how we view life, more worldly or more hopeful and believing in love. But we could have a lot of other things in common. Things that we like to do at that point in time in our life, ways that we view life, things that we are inspired by. We probably wouldn't keep being in friendship or relationship with them, right? But then as time goes by, and sometimes we can just get in a relationship because we've been hurt and we have inner conflict that maybe some other relationship didn't work out and we feel betrayed. And then we go get in a different job, a different friendship, a different relationship. And there can be a lot of things that, we can like about each other, which is why we stay in relationship with them. But then eventually there can come a time where one person realizes that could everybody have viewed it victorious and successful at one time and been defending it? Yes. But there can come a time where one person, again, works through some of their issues that they kind of look at life differently than they used to. And I think high vibe people would offer truth and love to the people in their life I think they'd offer them truth and love to move forward with them. But the other people could just say, well, I don't know, maybe they didn't communicate, but, you'd have to communicate with each other. You seem kind of different. You seem like I don't know, some things that, maybe used to be more defensive. Maybe you used to have more inner conflict. Maybe you were less inspired within yourself or less confident within yourself. You seem to have changed. Well, if they were willing to communicate with someone about it, those people probably would have told them, oh, well, I kind of did some of this inner work on some things that past pain, heartbreak, fears, insecurities, kind of learned to appreciate myself and what I bring to the table and what I could bring to the table. And I don't have all the skills, talents, interests, looks, whatever, money, status, I don't have necessarily what other people have, but I have my own unique things. And if I think I'm a just and fair and loving person who likes to get along with people, well, those are valuable traits and characteristics I bring to the table. And I could have just worked through some issues in my life. And I offered peace and love to it, realized everybody was just fallible human beings. And I'm not going to let those, whatever negative feelings and thoughts those experiences could have put in my own head, because our life is so much determined just by what we think, how we perceive ourselves, how we perceive others, how we perceive the world. I decided not to keep staying defensive to believing in myself or keep feeling like not good enough or being hurt about it. And I offered love to it to let it all go. And if some of those people would have, well, some people could have talked to you about it, and some of those people could have still decided you had to do all that work within yourself to work through all that. That sounds like a lot of work. And here, maybe from being a Two of Swords to going up to a Queen of Swords, in between the Two of Swords would be like the Knight of Swords. And, it's like maybe in tarot, you'd hear it referred to as timeline jumping, where you did enough work where you kind of even skipped over a step. Well, I mean, you leapt over it. You did the work, you actually, and other people could be like, Oh my gosh, that's a lot of work and effort to work through all that stuff. And it can take years. And the whole thing is, it probably was stuff that it does take years to work through some of that stuff. And other people could look at it and feel like, oh my gosh, you are like leaps and bounds ahead, maybe. And I would have a lot of work to go through that. And then some people can just be mad at you because you changed and you did do that work within yourself. Or you're no longer in a lack mentality. Or you're no longer more inspired to be in a relationship, to stay in a relationship, or be in a job and stay in a job just because you're in it. If there's not more justice and fairness and balance and, if I'm going to spend 8 hours at a job, I want to be around people who are mature enough to be loving and encouraging and supportive. And some people aren't. They can present themselves that way to get people to get into the job. And then they're kind of shadowy. And it's like, oh my God, this is going to be a miserable 8 hours every day. And those people decided, I'm going to go look for a different job. Because I think in free will, in a world of duality, people are either creating a little hell on earth or people are creating a little heaven on earth. And am I going to stay somewhere where it might all look good, but I know I feel stuck because, again, either it could be superficial, shallow, um, people are egotistical, full of themselves, want to be indulged or stubborn or prideful, immature. No. I'm going to go look for a different job and then, do all those work out the way you want? No, but I know that one didn't. So I'm going to go look for a different one. And, we kind of do the same thing in relationships. You know, in a relationship, you can actually maybe more freely feel to communicate your truth because you're in more of a personal relationship with them. Where at work, it's like, am I going to try to change these people? While I'm here, I'm doing my part, kind of being a good example in the world. And then if other people kind of keep being defensive to that, it's like, okay, I'm going to let you people be the way you are, and I'm going to go find a new job. And basically, you can kind of do that in friendships and relationships too. You could know some people are a little shadowy, a little defensive, a little competitive, a little immature. You try to set a higher example of working with them, hoping they in turn will be inspired within themselves to work through why they don't kind of act more like that. And if they don't, then it's like, no more illusions. I might have love for you, you might have some love for me, but if you're still defensive to listening to your intuition and take action more out of being in your ego or your competitive nature or whatever, then I'm going to let you do that with some other people. And you kind of speak your truth about it and are kind of get back to being in that hopeful, believing spirit, realizing my dream can't come into reality with those people because at a core foundational truth, their truth is different. So I'm going to keep moving forward and, there can be people that are more shadowy that try to present themselves as more high vibe. So it's like the competition in the Five of Wands. People who are really more aligned with their more worldly, shadowy, prideful, themself nature, trying to create an illusion that they have overcome those things and try to create the illusion they're being truthful or confuse you about the truth. And some people have had enough life experience. And with some people, if you ended a relationship with some people or a relationship ended anyway, and they were quite manipulative, quite defensive, tried to confuse people about the truth. If any of those people were to approach you, because they could still think that you buy into the illusion of who they are, because at one time you did. But as time went by and you were living your truth, and they were creating an illusion and trying to manipulate people about the truth of who they were, and being defensive and being stubborn and being prideful, every day that they do that is another day that shows you that, gee, they are not anything like I thought they were. And I cannot believe how prideful and stubborn and egotistical and immature they are. That by the time some of those people, if they think what they went to go pursue didn't work out, and they have this idea thinking that you still have illusions about who they are, and if some of those people try to communicate with you, um, I think you would, you know, you're in high vibe energy. If you think they did free themselves of some things that manipulated them, you would probably tell them you're happy that they saw some of these things that manipulated them. But if they're not telling you about all the other things that you could know manipulate them, again, it would be kind of like an argument match. So if they knew the truth and really had resolved all those things, there wouldn't be any question. And that's basically what you're looking for with anybody that you start to get to know over time. Do they seem to be authentic? Do they seem to be grounded, stable? Did they grow and mature themselves? Are they tempting me in my more worldly nature, my more egoic nature? Are they being truthful and authentic? And even as some people are being truthful and authentic, if you know them, and it's like, well, I'm glad you saw the truth through something that manipulated you, but I might know a lot more other things that manipulate you that you still are defensive to seeing the truth of. And with some of those people, it's like, I wish you peace, but yeah, I'm still moving on. And I'm glad those things, whatever it is that you could have freed yourself from. But yeah, I'm not the same person I was before. And I think the relationship that we have right now seems to be the right one for us. Like, well, we're not really in a relationship. I know that does seem to be the right relationship for us. Seems like they say that water finds its level, and actually during the course of this relationship, when it was going on with some of those people, uh, could have gotten to where you did not like it and enjoy it because of things that were going on. And now that you're away from them, you're much more balanced within yourself, feel more stable within yourself. It does take time to get there. But as you work more through the illusion that you had of people, seeing them for who they really are based on the choices and decisions that they're making, and the whole experience could have been to get you to learn to love yourself and believe in yourself and be loving and encouraging of yourself. Because if you're kind of have a harsh critical inner voice to yourself, you'll find other people that will be glad to join in on the chorus with you. So I need to learn to love myself and stand up for myself and value myself and invest in my truth. And that alone can keep other more shadowy people away from me, because I'm staying in a just energy, a balanced energy. And people who want a more mismatched relationship where they want to try to manipulate or control or get me to indulge them, as I keep maintaining balance within myself and living my life that way, it doesn't provide an opportunity for those people. Like, they're waiting for me to feel betrayed, say, and exchange my more hopeful believing nature for my shadowy nature. And then there could be a bunch of people who kind of rush in to be in a relationship, but not as long as you're investing in truth and in yourself and in love and maintaining balance, because that's not their truth. But there's other people who could see you doing that, who really are more high vibe. Right now, some of those people could view you as someone they would want to be friends with or get to know better. But they could just be taking their time if they know you and you know them. It's just social acquaintance to know them, to get to know them better, going with the flow, listening to your intuition as you go. And then as people keep getting to know each other, for some of the maybe newer people in your life, as we kind of get clear about, because other people who are high vibe don't want could view other people as loving, could be attracted to people, but they've already known people who wear a false mask and they don't want to be in a relationship with people like that. So everybody, the high vibe people listening to their intuition, taking things slow, getting to know people to just, see what seems to really more drive and motivate people. And if they feel that the people that they are investing with are more just and fair and stable and are who they say they are, then they will get out of their fear of making an offer. It might be a small offer initially to get to know you more, and then you will in turn listen to your intuition about them. But some of you could have left a job, friendship, relationship at some point in time, or you just detach from, maybe getting more balance within yourself. The water signs are on the opposite zodiac sign of the opposite wheel on the zodiac chart from the earth signs. And we can always be loving and nurturing people, but we could have tipped out of balance in that regard where, everybody does love and everybody's motivated by love. And it's to realize the truth that some people don't want to do love, might want to be in a relationship, but they don't really want to do love. Some people aren't very stable or balanced within themselves, and it has to be balanced. So as you get more balanced within your emotional nature and your worldly nature and the truth from these lessons that you've learned, it helps you move forward in a more stable and balanced way. And realizing that everybody kind of in their own way is standing up for their truth. They don't have to speak it, but by their actions and how they choose to interact or not interact or react or not react to people is kind of communicating their truth. And we equally should stand up and defend our truth. And I think for loving people, and it can be really hard because you do freely give of yourself and you want to get along with people and you want things to move forward in that kind of energy. But some people could view you as naive, and we have all been more naive where people try to present themselves as they're that type of person too, and they're really not. And then it was also to learn to listen to our intuition and take these lessons we've learned to stand up for ourselves. I can know lots of people, but I'm not going to if people show me they're kind of more manipulative, more superficial, more whatever, thank you for showing me the truth. And now I know not to invest much more time, energy, and effort into you because you already showed me the truth of who you were. And I'm going to invest more of my time and energy and effort into the people who seem to be more inspired to work together with people authentically in a more just and fair and loving and encouraging way. So what's coming up for people who harness some high vibe Scorpio energy that they might not see coming up? Okay, the Strength card and the Tower. Why? Because of the Emperor. So, you made a decision. You didn't want to keep moving forward with people who you felt were operating more from their worldly egoic nature. Again, trying to manipulate you, trying to control you, being prideful, being bossy, and some of them turning their back on you in order to manipulate you. Like, I'm not going to invest in you, and because you maybe wanted in the Queen of Swords a dream to come into reality with me, I don't think you'll love and believe in yourself, or you'll be sad, like thinking your dream couldn't come into reality because I'm not working with you. And the reason I'm not working with you is because your truth is different than my truth. So unless you put an end to that truth and call judgment on it, and decide it's just and fair to do it more my way, I'm not going to invest in you. And they think you are going to be the person more upset about it because you actually invested in them and had love for them. But you decided to temper your ego. You didn't want to be the only one tempering your ego, and the other person is working from their shadow nature, which is what the Tower can represent. So I'm supposed to be just and fair and loving and temper my more immature egoic or being more about myself nature. But yet you want me to stay in a relationship with you to whatever degree it is you have these shadowy ways of being. Well, I don't think that's just and fair. And maybe at one time I did think that was just and fair. Maybe I could have been repeating a pattern because that was the kind of relationships I was used to being in. But somewhere along the way, I might have started to think, why do I view life that way? And why don't I love and believe in myself and think my dreams can come into reality and that I deserve to be in more just and fair and balanced and loving relationships? And then I offered you that for you to come with me, and you said no. So, unless I wanted this to be my reality, the only person I can change is me. And I had to love and believe in myself and stand up for myself and work through the illusions that I had about you and stand up for my own inner child nature. And so you doing that is what enabled you in the Tower to detach from that old foundation and be free of it. The truth set you free. Love set you free. Offering truth and love to the situation helped you come to like a place of peace about it, to accept that everybody's where they're at. But I don't think those people are acting in a just and fair and loving way and acting with character and integrity. And I think they try to manipulate loving people in a relationship. That's not my truth. I'm not going to keep moving forward with that. And I'm going to detach from them. And I'm going to communicate my truth to people in my life that this is how I'm moving forward now. And if they want to come with, that's the page they're on. Then we'll all keep moving together with some of those people. And the people who that's not their truth, I wish you peace and they can go do what they want. And it could be, when people first separate from a job, a friendship, a relationship, the Tower can be like it's a shock. That's like the first shock. And then you kind of transmute the energy and work through it and the emotional confusion of it and your defensiveness and feeling manipulated and feeling confused. And as you work through it and you get to the end of it, then that's like emotionally releasing from it. And I think kind of energetically people can feel the truth of that too. And as you keep moving forward in your life, every day you're not hanging out with people who are being manipulative and defensive and bossy and controlling and immature is a good day. And that's what you're focused on. And you don't want to repeat that pattern. You don't want to be in relationships with people who kind of want you to be more codependent on them, like almost make them God in your life. You need me to bring your dreams into reality. No, I don't. I got God to work with. I have my creative, inspired, intuitive nature and my own unique skills, talents, interest, education, work experience, or whatever that me and God can use for me to manifest my dreams into reality. And some of you are really looking like a boss in the world. Well, you're tempering your ego and not taking action and taking action more out of pride and ego and lust and greed like some other people are doing it. Other people see the truth of that. And they see some other people taking action more out of being in a relationship to be in a relationship, more about the status, the ego, or the image, where it does seem kind of more superficial and shallow for ego reasons. And other people see that you're really moving forward in truth and love and you are who you say you are. And it kind of illuminates the truth of some people who did like to present themselves as these just and fair and stable and grounded and loving people. As they keep doing what they do, thinking people will keep buying into the illusion, and you keep moving forward in your way, it kind of shows who's who. And I think, you either have high vibe energy in the world, in a world of duality, which at the big picture are battling with each other in this world. You're aligning with high vibe energy, and you get free to go to play the next level of the video game of life. You learn the lesson you're meant to learn from this phase. Other people might try to look like that's how they're moving forward, but they can't really move forward authentically in that way until they've learned the lesson they've meant to learn. And it can look like love, it can act like love, but it doesn't really ever become maybe more of a deep, meaningful relationship, because that's not, both people have to be in that energy. And if one of them isn't, one of them isn't. And then some of those people might decide to move on. You're either kind of being a good role model or leader in the world, or you're being a bad one. And you might be surprised at who are some of the people who align with your truth, and you might be surprised at some of the people who don't, and some of the people who defend people who you could see are more shadowy. But anyway, what's coming up? I think you're having a new beginning, looking like a boss in the world. And that you have really freed yourself from the past. Other people might try to create the illusion they have by getting in other friendships or relationships, but still, all these things from their past just keep manipulating them and affect how they interact in the world, because they don't deal with the truth of something. What's coming up for people who harness a more worldly, shadowy Scorpio energy that they might not see coming up? A card not showing itself. Oh, why? Oh, there's like 5 cards there that aren't showing themselves. I'm just going to take the top one. Well, there's definitely something coming up that they do not see coming. Right now, they're still defending a way of viewing life, not willing to let go of a way of viewing life for themselves or relationships or being attached to the world or making their status or their ego or their image or their looks or whatever it is they got going on that they think they have to work with. Judgment is coming, though. And see, that's the thing. In our ego nature, we can think, I don't think there is any higher truth or justice to aspire to. The world is the world. We're doing what we're doing. It's like, I think there is a higher truth and justice at play, and I think there are rules to this game of life. Again, you can try to create an illusion about who you are, but if you really haven't kind of grown and healed and matured yourself, other people aren't going to want to stay in a relationship regardless of what you look like or act like or power or influence in the world. And they could always be wondering, why don't those people want, and mad that some of those people in the world don't want to exchange resources with them. It's like, because you don't want to see the truth that even though you might want to be in relationships with people, you kind of wear a false mask. Or you're more shadowy than that. Ooh, what's coming up that they don't see coming? The 9 of Swords, because of the Chariot. So, the Chariot talks about, and supposedly the Emperor sits in the Chariot. When we learn to free ourselves from things that manipulate us, that frees us to move forward quickly and swiftly in our life, because it's not like we just tried to cut off the baggage we were pulling behind us. We actually look at it and we take it out and we look at it and say, who put that thought in my head? When did I feel this way? Is that still true or is that not true? Have I worked through it? And you're able to work through it and dump the baggage. The other people might try to think, I can just cut off the baggage. Lop. I'm gone. I'm moving forward differently. But it's like a box in the corner of their mind giving off an energetic signal of fear and lack mentality, and you were unjust and you were unfair, whatever. It never goes away. What they don't see coming is that Other people could have fear of loving and believing in themselves. The Chariot is Cancer energy about love. And of course, the Aquarius card can talk about having hope and faith and belief in yourself and in your dreams. There could have some people in their life right now that they don't know. In their Gemini nature, Gemini is represented by the 8, the 9, and the 10 of Swords. They could not realize that, some of the people in their life, in their Gemini nature, are more aligned with hope and faith and belief and love. And those people right now could be doing some of this work within themselves to figure out why they stay in a friendship or relationship with them or stay at that job. And those people are going to work through it. From the 9 of Swords down to the 4 of Swords is the 5 of Swords. People can, the 5, the 6, and the 7 are all Aquarius energy. I have a dream. I wanted something to work out. I was hoping this would work out. But and they might have fear of believing in themselves. And they might have been kind of defensive and had inner conflict and felt stuck and had to heal, just like some of these people do. The difference is that when other people get in environments, just like they can get in relationships with these people can be loving and encouraging and supportive. They just don't want to move forward more aligned with their high vibe Gemini nature or high vibe Aquarius. Let's stay in it more for these reasons of the world. But the more high vibrational people in their life are going to free themselves. Offer them truth and love to move forward with them again and again. They'll call judgment on it. Because in their Gemini nature, they're hiding that they're more aligned with being in a relationship either to make them feel more emotionally stable and balanced, to look like they've moved forward more victoriously and successful, to look like a shining star. But it's not really from love. It's more for those other reasons. And eventually some of the other people in their life are going to see the truth of it. They keep thinking they can hide it by wearing this false mask. No. I'm motivated and inspired to be in this relationship from love. And eventually people see through the truth of it. It's like trying to live more from your mind than your heart. And shadowy emperor, male or female, where people think they're this mastermind and control and manipulate people or use the love that people have for them or their want for these things of the world to keep them in a relationship with them. And it can keep people in a relationship with them for a long time. Until eventually the people are like, is the relationship going to grow and mature itself? And we're going to, it's going to be more emotionally balanced and move forward more from love than about these things that we might have wanted to manifest in the world. Like we might have wanted to be in a relationship. We might have wanted to get married. We might have wanted to have a family. Everybody could have wanted those things of the world and been in relationships with people they could have been drawn and attracted to and had things in common with. But then as we keep moving forward, that isn't enough to sustain it. The relationship has to grow and mature or it's hard to sustain. And it has to become like more inspired by love to keep moving it forward, which there could have been love and affection there, but the relationship needs to grow and mature over time. And some of these people are like, nope, this is good for me. This is my comfort zone. I don't want to do more. I don't want to connect more in with my emotions. And the difference between the 1 cup of the King of Cups and the 7 of Cups is that 6 of Cups. The 6 of Cups can be about reconciling yourself with some of these issues from their past. And because they haven't done that, it prevents them from being able to move forward the way they want. But then it takes that work and effort to be willing to work through those issues to figure out these things from their past that stop them from being able to move forward in it, maybe in a way they would want. And again, working through those issues can take a long time. And if people have kind of kept them buried under the surface, it can be a lot to work through. And that's too when some people are like, you can go. I'll go find someone else to get in a relationship with. And I'll try to create confusion about why that relationship didn't work out. And I'll say you were the one who was more defensive and more immature. And, I'll keep trying to hide that I'm in a mental prison about love. And other people could have been in a mental prison about love, but they worked through it. And now they're moving forward with loving people. But I never worked through it. I'd have to offer love to all those thoughts in my head to get down to the truth of what my truth is. And that just takes a lot of work and effort. And I think I'll be okay making my life and be happy making my life more about me or these things of the world. And that's how they continue to decide to move forward. Another thing for people who are shadowy, it can be to try to manipulate people, like I said. What they don't see coming is some of the people who at one time could have been up in their head about them because they wanted to move forward with them and bring this dream into reality. Those people have worked through it all and they're no longer up in their head about these people. And they're just like, what? Oh shit. They're going. They freed themselves. Yes, and while you were doing whatever you were doing to try to manipulate and control people, the control and the manipulation didn't work. And the other people saw they don't even want to be in relationships with people who act like that. And they moved on. And then they're like, shit, I thought my manipulation was going to work. And then they're mad that people freed themselves and called judgment on them. And now they got to go find someone else to try to manipulate and control. Because the high vibe people are moving forward with other high vibe people that they know and they're meeting as they go on this new chapter of life that these people can't even go to because they don't know how to fake what it means to live your life like that because they've never been there. And they're going to go repeat an old pattern, and the other people are moving forward to learn more lessons in life. So there you go, Scorpio. I wish you peace, love, and joy, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.